everybody, I am Tiffany and today I am doing another book review, another one down, and this marks the end of another series. That is right. This series, it takes place in a larger world that has a bunch of other series in it, if that makes any sense. But at least this series that takes place in this magical fantasy world, I have finished. It is a trilogy. I have loved every second of it. It's just wonderful and amazing, and if you haven't read it, you so should. And this trilogy is the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare, and today I am reviewing the third and final book in that series, Clockwork Princess. Now, last time I did a book review for one of the books in this series, I was not dressed up whatsoever. It was quite sad. And I did go searching, actually, for a more London dress back in the 1800s, but those were a little bit too expensive. So I still decided to at least dress up a little bit. It has pink on it, which kind of matches the cover, and I made my hair curly, which I don't usually do a lot unless I have an audition. This is also a very comfortable and flowy dress, which is very nice. Because I did want to dress up at least somewhat because they are so refined and British that I did not feel it was proper to be dressed in just jeans and a t-shirt. Like I said, Clockwork Princess, it is the third and final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. This takes place in London in the 1800s. It goes hand in hand with the Mortal Instruments series, which I'm on the last book of that one, so that one should be coming out shortly after this one. And they kind of overlap each other. Infernal Devices takes place before the Mortal Instruments series does. But if you're going to read both series, I suggest you read it in publishing order, because there are things in the Infernal Devices that could spoil you for the Mortal Instruments and vice versa. If you read all of Mortal Instruments before you read all of the Infernal Devices, it could spoil you for the Infernal Devices. So my suggestion is go by publishing order with it, and then you get how the author correlates the two and intertwines them, and it's really cool and unique. Since it is the third and final book in a series, there isn't really a ton I can tell you without spoiling you. If you haven't read the series, you need to go read it, and then once you catch up, come back to this video. But at least for now, I can give you statistics. This book has a 4.59 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. That is absolutely insane. 0.5 away from 5 stars. It takes a lot for me to cry in a book. This made me cry. That's right. This book made me actually cry, like tears spilled down my face. That's how beautiful this book was. I love this series so much. I did not think I was going to like it this much, and I really did. It's so beautiful. The storytelling is fantastic. I love the characters. It's just a wonderful love story, fantasy story. It's everything combined, and it's just absolutely amazing. This is a series I highly recommend, even if you don't read the Mortal Instruments. Read Infernal Devices. For those of you who just don't know what the heck the Infernal Devices is, it is a book series that takes place in the fantasy world that Cassandra Clare has created. This world was first introduced in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. It follows a group of shadow hunters, which are people who are descended from angels who kill demons, and it has all types of different fantasy creatures in there. It has vampires, werewolves, fairies, anything you can think of. The Infernal Devices takes place in that same world, but it occurs before the Mortal Instruments. So it's that in London with British accents, and it follows mainly a girl named Tessa who came to London to look for her brother, and stuff goes very much awry, and she ends up getting caught up in this magical world. That's Tessa on the cover right there. That's Tessa. I want to dress like that. I would love to wear that dress. Tessa, oh my gosh, I love her. You will love the main character in this book. I think. I do, at least. I really like her. That is really all I can tell you without spoiling you, because it is the third book in a series. So I suggest that if you haven't read this series, well, I don't get why you're looking at the third one, but go read this series and then come back and we can discuss all our feels together. There's also a link in the description to the second book in the series. I didn't get one up for the first one, which is sad. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, so make sure you check that one out too, especially if, you know, you're on the second one and not on the third. You may want to go to that one first, because that's the book you're on. Thank you so much for joining me, non-spoilery people. Have an awesome day, and then come back when you read this book and we can gush over it together. Goodbye! Clockwork, princess. So at the end of the last book, we left off with just a bunch of devastating, bittersweet stuff. Tessa is engaged to Jem, which is awesome. But then Will professes his love for her because he finds out his curse was never real, and that's so heartbreaking because Tessa loves Will. Let's be real. I was expecting her to eventually get with Will in this book just because usually the book rule is if they're together with one character in the first book, then they're gonna be with the other character in the next book. And then also you have this whole dilemma with the Lightwood brothers where Gabriel's with his dad who has demon pox and Gideon's living with the Branwells. There's a lot of stuff going on. And the first scene automatically just gets you going because you see Gabriel come to the Institute covered in blood. And he's saying that his dad has turned into a worm. By the way, Will's comments and everything were really funny. And then Gideon comes up to him and he goes, "Yes, I know, Gabriel. Father is a worm." But Gabriel turns on him and goes, "No! Father has turned into a worm." That's not verbatim. That's basically what happens, though. They all go to the Lightwood Manor. They see that the Lightwood sister is there. They can't find her fiance. Of course, he got killed by the giant worm. I loved the opening sequence in this book. I loved the fight scenes. It let you kind of be introduced a little bit to a couple of new people, specifically Cecily. She's Will's little sister who comes to train to be a shadow hunter in order to try and get Will back to his original family. She was amazing in that fight sequence. I was like, what the heck? You already beat Clary! And that took Clary 5 books, and Cecily's just jumping on the worm and going bam like it's nothing, and I'm just like, who is this girl? And then it also started a little bit thing between Gabriel and Cecily, which was really cute. I'm really glad we got to know Gabriel. You get that he's really loyal to his family, and it's just nice to see him turn around and be the good guy. Then Henry and Tessa find in the room where Benedict was locked up, he wrote, "The infernal devices are without pity, the infernal devices are without regret, the infernal devices are without number, the infernal devices will never stop coming." And that makes it a very eerie tone because we already know that these automaton things are very scary in itself, and it seems like they are becoming more advanced. I don't know what happened to the consul, though. I liked him in the last book because he was on Charlotte's side, even though Benedict was trying to throw her under the bus. But instead, he just does a complete 180 and is trying to get her kicked out of the Institute. It's just stupid. I got so worried that Gabriel was going to turn on them. One of the best moments is when he jumps up and confesses that he wrote the note, but then he says he didn't turn it in. And I just went, yes, yes, and I did a little victory dance because I was very excited that Gabriel didn't do something stupid because he's just been stupid throughout these books. And I still felt for him, but it was time for him to not be stupid. One thing I was waiting for in this book, which I talked about in my last book review, was I was very interested to see what happened when Jessamine returned. If you don't remember, she betrayed them all. Unfortunately, we didn't really get that, and I do wish we had that. It was still impactful when she died. That I really felt. Despite everything that had happened, I didn't want her to die. I wanted her to live, and I wanted her to redeem herself in some way. I really like the characters that are flawed and not perfect, and they maybe aren't 100% good, but they aren't 100% evil. Those are the ones that interest me, and Jessamine is really in between that. She's a bit more annoying for my taste, but overall, she's a very complicated character. And while she betrays the characters that you love, you also feel for her because at the end of the day, she's trying to get this perfect life that she has in her head, and it goes to a very unhealthy place. There was one thing I could wish for. I wish they would have kept Jessamine alive a little bit longer so we could have more interaction with her, with the other characters. The automatons attack, take Tessa, and all of a sudden Jessamine is dead. And they did the death actually really beautifully, though. I felt it. It wasn't too rushed. It wasn't too drawn out. It was perfect the way they did it. I just wish it happened a little bit later on in the book instead of so soon. But from Jessamine coming back, of course, Tessa gets taken by Mortmain. While we're worried about Tessa over there, I'm also worried sick about Jem, because Jem lied. And I'm so pissed that Jem lied, because he was doing better with Tessa. But why? Because he was taking more of the stuff he needs to take, which kills him faster. And I just got so mad at Jem for once in my life, because I love Jem to death. He should have saved it in order to last long, and now you're having Will worry and Tessa worry because you're out of the stuff you need. And then Jem, of course, allows them to at least search for a cure for a bit until Will has to go save Tessa. But once he's gone, he's just like, nope, you're not allowed to search for a cure again. Finally, Will confesses to Jem. That was a beautiful scene, and it was emotional, where he confesses to Jem that he loves Tessa, and Jem says, I would never have gone after her if I had known your feelings for her. And you just felt so bad because Jem is dying. And I'm just like, Jem, you love her. You can't be upset about that. Though I want Tessa with Will, I still feel for Jem. I want Jem to be a happy person. But he sends Will to go off and find Tessa. The most irritating part of the book for me was when Tessa jumps out of the carriage. Will is right there. She hears him call out her name, and he keeps going because she doesn't say anything. And I just wanted to jump in and go, wait, nope, you're gonna come back here. She's right there. She is right there. I hate when that happens in books, when they just cross paths and they don't even realize it. Like, so much stuff could have been solved, and I get it because that creates conflicts, that they missed each other, and it hurts more when bad stuff happens. But still. And then, of course, as Will is writing, his Parabazi bond breaks. And I got so emotional because my brain went to that Jem had died. And you had seen Charlotte crying earlier and Sophie, and I was so sad. Seeing Will act the way he did and then fight all the werewolves and get really mad, it's just heartbreaking because it's Jem. Will finally gets to Mortmain, finds Tessa. Characters pick the most inopportune times to do stuff. He finds Tessa, he accidentally gets trapped with her in there, and then they have their moment together, and it was beautifully done. Not the right place and time, but I get it. You're trapped, and you don't think you might ever get out. I really wanted Tessa to be with Will. As much as I love Jem, Tessa and Will fit really well together, and they have their little, book love, which that seals the deal for me always. If there is a book lover involved and you have a love of books, that's it. And then, of course, who walks in on them is Magnus Bane. I love Magnus so much. He scared me though. He comes in, makes a comment, but you don't see automatically that it's Magnus. So that first line where he's like, well, this is awkward or something along those lines, I totally thought it was Mortmain. But then it was Magnus, so it was okay because it's Magnus. You can tell Magnus is happy because he wanted Will to get happiness, but I don't think he was expecting to walk into that. Can I just say I think it's awesome that Henry is the one who created the portal, because everybody gets on to Henry about his inventions because they supposedly never work, but he created the portal. So ha 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 ha. And then you also find out that Tessa has like an angel in her locket. That poor angel, because isn't that the same one that Valentine tortures in the other books? Gosh, that angel has been through a lot. What is he doing? Like, what gets him captured like that? Angels are all powerful and can make a person burst into fire basically by looking at them. I don't get how the same angel got captured twice. We're in kind of like the final battle sequence and everything. And the automatons wake up and they hurt Henry. I totally thought Henry was a goner. They said he was just limp on the ground. There was a crack. I thought that was it. I totally thought that was it. And I was so mad because I, for some reason, did not think that Henry could potentially die. He didn't. This book was very kind in a way because there were a lot of characters that were very near death, but they didn't actually die. But then, of course, does it stop there that Henry almost died and I'm scared to death that he's still gonna die? No! The Silent Brothers come to help them fight this final battle. And there's one, Brother Zachariah, who's from the other books as well, that's a little bit different. And who does it happen to be? Jem. I just completely lost it. I could not believe that I did not see that coming. I admit I'm a very gullible person, and I fall for twists very easily. But I'm still shocked how much that one got me. Because in a way you look back and you think and you're like, oh my gosh, it's kind of obvious, but it's not obvious because Cassandra Clare is brilliant. That moment was just heart-wrenching. And you know what it means because the Silent Brothers are so detached and they don't really remember their past lives. I blame Jem for this. I blame Jem. He took too much of the drug too early on and ran out, and so this had to happen. I know it put Jem out of the picture, but it's still... no. But when Jem is talking to Tessa back at the Institute, I felt the pain there because he's not completely a silent brother yet, and you can tell he's so pained that he can't be with Tessa. Hearing him tell Tessa, saying, you know, once a year we're gonna meet up here at this bridge. After all of that craziness, finally Will and Tessa get to be together. And that epilogue is what really made me burst into tears. It shows Tessa's and Will's whole life together. Tessa is a warlock, so of course she's immortal. Will keeps aging and he actually lives a really long life, which is great for a shadow hunter. But the scene where he's dying and all his kids are around and Tessa's there and Jem is there because you bring the Silent Brothers in for that. It was so beautiful, and I love Will and I love Tessa and I just wanted him to live forever with her. And seeing her heartbreak after and just hearing how she got detached from the world after that because she didn't want to experience that type of love again. And then you have the huge twist, which I want to find out what happens in the 6th book of Mortal Instruments series because of this, is because Jem comes back normal. I just got over Will. You're telling me Jem is back? She gets both? She gets to live a whole life with Jem now, and I'm so excited. I want to know how he becomes not a silent brother anymore, and I think I'm going to find that out in the 6th book of the Mortal Instruments series. This book, there are so many different emotions I have felt with this. Cassandra Clare, you are an amazing writer. Keep it up. I love it. And you're amazing. Thank you for writing this amazing series. That is really all I have to say about this book. It is absolutely fantastic. Go read this series. If you stayed through the spoiler sections and you didn't read the book, I still suggest you read it because at the end of the day, it's one thing me telling you what happens in the book. It's a whole other thing you actually reading it for yourself and experiencing it yourself and through your own lens. Look at the rating on Goodreads. That should tell you enough. Thank you for joining me. If you have any other book or movie recommendations, leave them in the comments below, por favor, and I will write them down and make sure to do a review on them for you. I am getting to the books finally that have been requested a while back. I'm finally getting to them. I know it takes a while, but I have a routine in my head to make sure I do read all the books that I get and do watch all the movies that I have. Do not worry, I don't just disregard your suggestions. I actually do take them very seriously. Thank you so much for watching this. Also, if you want updates on videos in general or acting career-wise too, go to my blog. It'll flash right here for you. And then also there is a link to it in the description below. Go and check it out. That'll keep you updated on everything that's going on. If for some reason I can't post videos, then it will be posted there. I try to post all my important stuff and announcements on that blog. Have an awesome day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome. Alright, have a good day. Goodbye!